The United States probably took more like maybe half a century to actually reach global status. The British Empire took over a century to develop to its full state, whereas China, in this particular modern era, has actually changed its global status very fast. And in those terms, I have a sense when I read think tank reports and academic articles coming out of China, that there's a lot of thinking about the traditional Chinese philosophy and how much that's relevant only to China and how much it has a wider message for the world. Thinking about China's changing sense of its own engagement with its history. As I've said, China is a country which, in some ways, was opened up by force in the mid 19th century, but now actually has much more control over its own destiny in the world. I think it's an unfinished story. In other words, a lot of this is a narrative which is developing right now. And I'd say if there's one piece of advice that I would give, let the rest of the world come in and help to build that story. In other words, China has always been at its best when it's been at its most open, when the barriers are open, when you have foreign academics, students, business people, media people, all of those coming and taking part in the China story. Sometimes that conversation is not always comfortable. The thing about becoming a great power, as the Americans will always tell you, is that it means that you have to listen to difficult conversations as well as friendly ones. But that, of course, is part of the process of learning to be influential in the world. And I think as a historian, I'm fascinated by the way that China right now is continuing to develop in that particular narrative